So, like, this is my own super fast character. I don't have a good picture of what he looks like, so let's start with abilities. First of all, he's the embodiment of my version of the Speed Force, right? Basically, the US government was creating a project to go back in time using this mysterious source they found, right? To, like, help them win more battles, right? But, eventually, this scientist managed to find the truth that they were actually going to go back in time and, you know, like, spread the US, right? Like, conquering every country. So that way they would rule over the world, and then that way they could turn into something like Russia. So what he did was that when the device was just ready to transport the people, he grabbed a metal bar and he jammed it into a huge metal piece, and he jammed it into the core, and then it started malfunctioning, and a lot of the servers went offline, and then he was immediately shot dead. But he was a scientist and an IT guy too, so just in case he had the self-destruct password, and he said it out loud, and then the machine went off. But everyone else was saved was because just in case it did go off, basically this is how it was. The machine, it was a circle machine right here, right? A circle machine right here in the center, and then there would be an entrance, and it was blue and stuff, and then there would be like there would be a circle here, 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 you know, like everywhere, and right, and when it was activated, the self-destruct sequence, it would put a mechanical wall around, you know, like the seats, right? So, like, this is the seats, a circle, and then it's in the middle, and self-destruct activates, boom, a wall surrounds it. And so everyone else was safe, but he was managed to bring back to life. He didn't get his abilities. That explosion just brought him back to life. He went to the machine that was being malfunctioned, right? And he realized that the only way to, you know, like, to destroy this forever is to become it, because even if he does get captured, he can just himself. So he quickly makes a tool out of the remaining parts, and he's just about to absorb it, but he's shot down again. So he activates the self-destruct feature, and then that black orb attaches onto the nearest living organism, which is our main character. And then he's brought back to life, and then he sees the main core malfunctioning. This time it could destroy the whole facility. So he immediately runs in, and then he jumps in like this, right? Like, and then the machine explodes. But he manages to absorb all of it, right? And then, when he gets up, he can't stop running. And then, boom, he accidentally runs so fast, he goes into another part of the world. But he can't stop, and then, boom, he goes to another multiverse. Like, in this reality, there's separate multiverses. And he accidentally went to another one. Accidentally. And when he's there, he realizes that maybe he needs the spirit of darkness. He learns about it, because, like, how do I say this? He learns about it thanks to, like, a radio transmission. Like, they had in this reality, it's like an abandoned civilization regaining its feet, and they have like huge radio towers that play announcements, and one of it was the unknown of darknesses, right? That just changed the name. And it said that, it's still safe and secure. So he searches the entire planet before he actually gets there, basically what happened was that he went so fast that he actually managed to search the planet so fast that he actually went back in time while he was arriving there, and then he already knew its location, which technically means he knew about the Scepter of the Unknown before, and he knew its exact location without prior knowledge of it before he went into this universe, before he even entered it, which is really impressive. And he runs to the Scepter of Darkness, and it's guarded, of course, right? A couple guards. And they managed to stop him using the unknown of the gods, right? Which can basically stop anything in its tracks. But it can only stop him for around a minute. And they ask what's going on. He's like, I'm from a different multiverse. And, you know, these guys are high in power, so they know about it. And he's like, we were making a machine to go back into the past. But when I learned the truth about what my government was going to use it for, you know, like become supreme dictator, I destroyed the machine with a metal bar. And then I and then I made it self-destruct, and then I built a machine using the remaining parts, and then I absorbed that. And then this black orb that was powering this whole thing, I think attached onto me because I was the closest, and then I just can't stop running, right? And they immediately get the Scepter of Darkness, right? Just like it's like a stick like this, and then it's like cornered here, like then it has a little metal, little metal thing sticking out, and then there's like a little lever on it, and they pull it, then it extends, and they immediately jab it right into his chest, and then it slowly turns, and he's like, and then they take it out, and it stops, and he's like, why did you do that? And he's like, you know, we've been trying to find that too. We've managed to contact other multiverses, and it's a huge item that we've all been trying to get to secure it from the wrong hands. It seems like that it was gone by the wrong people, but you stopped it. So we've given you our most powerful item, right? And they read through the scribe they found with it, right? And it says, this will allow anyone who is injected with the unlimited power. They can control anything with enough training. No, scratch the last part, no. They have unlimited power. They have unlimited strength, unlimited speed, unlimited everything. And their IQ is advanced by 900 points. And also, now they don't have to eat a lot to maintain the speed, which basically means, like, you know how the Flash has to eat a lot, you know, to like maintain his speed and body to continue living. Well, now mine doesn't have to. He doesn't even have to eat anything, right? And so he immediately goes back into his universe, and he finds out that it's actually been over 1 billion years. And ever since that explosion, aliens managed to detect it, and they how do I say this? They went to the planet, and the U.S. shot the main mothership so much that it actually crashed, right? And it was the main mothership. There were other ones, but they shot the main one down. And in case somebody hijacked the main mothership to, you know, like, take control of it, the other ones would crash into the nearest planet, which is Earth. So yeah, boom. he even does he even manages to contact his, friends that, give him the scepter of the unknown, right? Whatever, right? And they do a scan and they can't find anything living. Not even bacteria is alive. Right? So he goes there, but then immediately he gets out of there. And they do a scan and they find out that the UFOs aren't what did it. It was a virus. Basically, each mothership had a bottle of this, had 5 bottles of this virus. Basically, if this virus was unleashed on any planet, even an atom of it would immediately kill everything, because it's a supercharged atom. So once it's exposed to anything that isn't its protective magnetic field, it immediately discharges and it creates a lot of it, and it turns into a gas. And basically what it does is that anything, right, any planet it's unleashed to, everything stops living. This is what happens. 50% of all living organisms die on that planet, right? And the other 50% are just stopped, right? So in this scenario, it was all organisms, right? Humans, animals and stuff, and then bacteria and stuff like that. And the humans and all of them were killed, while the bacteria were just frozen in time, right? And it's actually contractable. So if any living organism touches it and it somehow doesn't die, it can spread it, right? And because of the scepter of darkness, it also has something hidden in it. It has the knowledge of the multiverse, right? It lets you know anything about any multiverse, right? But that knowledge needs to be unlocked, right? Through training and stuff like that, So as a little warning, it told him to get out of there, and he did. Right? So what he does is this. He makes a new suit, right? I'm thinking like it's a metallic blue, gray, and black suit, right? Basically, the feet are black, right? This part is black too, but like the knees are blue, right? And then this part is black, right? And then like his stomach is it's gray and blue over here, and then his stomach is gray, but his sides are blue, right? And then this part is blue, gray, black, and the then gray, black, and then black for the palm, and then just black, and then the gray tips, gray here, and then black tips here, Same for the other one. And for the head, it's like a nanotech thing, right? Basically, this part can come off like to reveal the face. It has like soulless black eyes with like blue and gray circles around it. His mask is actually indented, so it's like this. It goes in and then it goes out, right? And like there's like a bunch of machines right in that mask right here that convert anything that's non-breathable into oxygen. And you might be saying, oh, why is it different colors? Well, first of all, gray is like the super strong material, right? It's like one of the strongest materials in all the multiverses, right? But it's really not that flexible. while the blue material is also one of the strongest materials in the multiverse, but it's also flexible, like I would say in flexibility medium, right? And the black one is like dead, is like also one of the strongest materials in the multiverses, but it's one of the more weaker ones, but it's the most flexible one, right? So he goes back into that planet, he goes back into Earth, right? And then he tries to, like, save them, but he can't, because he knows that maybe he isn't wanted, but he does it anyway. He gets a bunch of samples of the viruses, and then he spends literally, he does the cure so fast. Want to know something? He actually has the cure before any of this happened. He makes the cure so fast, and he moves around so fast that he accidentally went back in time to before he had his suit, and he was being launched in the Earth because of the pod. He had the cure in his hands now, right? But why couldn't anyone, and the reason no one else could see it is because of reality lagging. He did it so fast that reality has to catch up with him, right? So that's why no one else can see it, right? Not even he saw it, right? So yeah, he has it, and then he manages to find the dispersal tanks for it, and then he analyzes it, and then he creates a way better one, and then he creates 3 of them. First of all, what he does is this. He creates a cure, right? And he spreads it all around the world, right? And then he gets right? And then he gets an anti-serum and spreads it all around the world. And then he gets a vaccine and he puts it all around the world, right? What he did was that he upgraded the dispersal tanks, and then he put it in like the alien station in Mars that was owned by the people who injected him with that. And then he launched it using a pod, and their tech is strong enough to disperse it all around the world. So yeah, you might be saying, oh, how is it gonna get the humans back? He doesn't. He kind of does. What he does is that he's like, hey, maybe I can stop reality, right? He's like, oh, what if I can stop reality? No, like, what if I can change reality to be better? What if only the smart people lived? So he's like, no, that can't happen. So what he does is that he creates new humans, right? They are like super smart, right? Not as smart as him, but really smart. Like they have like 700 IQ, right? And it's a boy and a girl, right? And he clones them, and then he puts them on Earth, right? And then he just lets nature happen, right? And they're not related at all either, but yeah. You might be wondering, oh, how did the human, and then he just waits for the human race to, presume where it was, right? Basically, they keep cloning, right? And then they're worried that, oh, they can't continue living because, there's not enough people, right? But eventually bacteria evolves into humans, so more human spread, right? Right? And then, and basically they're actually really smart too. It's because this type of bacteria basically had they're like mini human, right, bacteria, and how they get their human traits is by this time absorbing blood from the humans and like like leeching off them, right? So they're practically a copy of them. So boom, 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 and eventually the human race is repopulated, right? And then he's just like saving other planets, right? Like from destruction and stuff like that. And then he visits Earth, right? And then it turns out that the people who helped him actually had a fallout. Basically, they're now like really big too, right? But half of them are against the other half, right? For reasons unknown. And they managed to get enough materials to contain him in there, right? Contain my hero in there, right? Right? And you might be saying, oh, how? Why can't he use his unlimited powers? Because he hasn't unlocked it yet. Right? And he's alerted to this by the other aliens, but they can't help because they're fighting a war. There's no way they can help because they actually managed to upgrade the tech by collabing with even more aliens to even the point where not even they can understand it. Right? So he continues saving Earth. Right? And you might be saying, oh, how is he continuing to live? He's not. You see, this is what's happening. The suit's making him invincible. Right? And the powers. Right? So basically the powers help him keep him alive, allow him to traverse the multiverse, right? If he's not stuck on a planet, but the suit's making him immortal. Right? So if he took out the suit, he wouldn't be like, oh, I'm old. No, like if he had that suit when he was 23 and then he put it on, right? This all happened and he got out of the suit, he would still be at 23. And then like 25 if he decided to put the suit back on, and then like 500 years later he takes it off, he'll still be 25, So yeah. The suit can't like turn back his age or like forward his age unless it's tampered with. All it does is keep him at that same age forever unless he takes the suit off, upon which regular time applies to him again. And he decides that helping lives is more important than than him suffering. And then he's saving a person from he's saving like 5 families from a burning building, and then he sees them like each of their families celebrating, right, and like hugging and kissing and celebrating, and before they can even say thanks, he's out of there. And we see him at a lake, and we see his reflection, and he's like, I still remember my family. Why did I have to do that? Why couldn't I have made an exception? And then he accidentally punches the bridge behind him so hard that the power grid goes out for the entire planet. Right? And like when you're mad, you're like, oh, bah! Like in those movies, he did that, and he accidentally took out the world's power grid. Pretty sure if that spell the aliens did on Earth wasn't there, it would have taken out like at least 100 million multiverses power. Right? Even if it's unknown tech, right? So what does he do? He decides that maybe if he goes back in the time enough, he can get his family. And that's what he does, and then boom, he's in the room, and it's his family and his past self. They're like, ah, who is that? Grab the shotgun. Then he takes it off and he's like, it's me, your son. Like, how? And he's like, this is what happened. I was at my job, U.S. military site 209 underground. They were making a machine to go back in time using this unknown power source. I found out that they were going to go back in time and conquer the earth and turn it into a modern day North Korea, except even worse. So I got a huge metal metal pole and jabbed it into the main core. And then I activated the self-destruct sequence, but force field's activated, but it only blasted me. But I managed to create a device out of the remaining materials, and then I used it, to stop the explosion from destroying the whole site. But I was shot down, and then I activated the self-destruct sequence, right? And then when it was activated, that power source latched on to me because I was the nearest living organism. And then I got these powers, right? And then I couldn't stop running, and I went into another multiverse, and I went to a world with aliens, and they gave me this juice. They injected into me, and it fixed me. And then I went back to Earth, and aliens had attacked. And they had released this virus on you that killed half of you, and then the other half was stuck in time. I created a cure, and I made my own versions of humans that are really smart. And the bacteria leached off them. They get human traits, and they repopulated. And when I went to revisit, those same aliens who helped me were in a war with themselves. Half of their population was fighting the other. So one of the sides trapped me in Earth using a spell. And I forgot, and I remembered that I don't have my family anymore. So I used my speed to go back in time. They're like, well, what about the suit? And he's like, I made it myself. Don't you think it's flashy? And they're like, yeah, but won't this affect your time? And he's like, I know, but it doesn't matter. I have an idea. And boom, just like that, he's gone. Right? He's in the past so that he can escape Earth, right? So he goes to around 500 million multiverses, and then he's back, and then he has a device. And then he goes to the center of the room, and he's like, prepare to witness history. And then he turns it on, then it starts beeping. Right? And then he drops it, and then more appear. More and more and more until it covers the room, and then it explodes, right? A huge vast of energy is covering the house, and then it eventually covers the earth, right? And then everything's back to normal. And what happened? He created his own pocket dimension, right? Boom. It's in his pocket. All he has to do is just put his hands in his pocket like this and say, go, and then he gets absorbed in there. It has infinite multiverses too inside of itself, and he created a clone of Earth, right? In his own pocket dimension, and it's literally, and you can't track it down. Even if you have the best tech in the world, right? Because it's his own universe, and he cloned everyone except for his family. He put his real family in there, and you might be saying why, and it's because he doesn't want them to be in danger. he wants to visit them whenever he can. So what he does is that he uses his, he manages to find he uses his powers to go to another multiverse, hoping it has the answer. And he finds an abandoned foundation. He manages to find a door with with 3 numbers on it, and scratched out letters behind it, like right here to it, right? He goes in and it's with one flash of it, if even an atom of it touches the planet, boom, that selected memory you want everyone to forget, it's gone. Any physical media, any like books, anything like that, and stuff like that, right? So he goes back into that time, and then he goes to the aliens, and he explains what's going on and shows proof. They put him in in the UFOs. He uses an extension in the ship, and then he puts that memory eraser gun in, and then boom, he takes it. And they're like, what are you doing? And he goes into his pocket and he's like, go. And then he's in there, and then he unleashes it on his clone of Earth along with the original Earth. And then he creates a clone of it and lets it explode in his own multiverse. Boom, every reality, even the ones that are currently have it, still have the effect. So no one remembers this. And then he goes back into that reality, and then he uses it again. Right? But this time he sizes it down so only the UFO will be affected. And then boom, they forget and he gets out of there. Right? And he decides that maybe having alien friends would help. So he goes and he finds out that they practically both killed themselves, right? And then he gets all the genetic material he needs from the remaining bodies. And then he creates his own version of them, right? That are completely under his control. And then he uses the leftover machines to, like, boom. All humans are back using that machine and using that one, using those two aliens, right? Really smart ones, the better ones, if you will, that are under his control. And then boom, he has his own alien race working for him. And if this is somehow made into a TV show, this is all one episode. Right? And then he goes into his pocket dimension, and then he realizes that, oh no, it's gonna be, I need to take out my version of it because, it really would have 2 of them. Right? So, but he doesn't want to risk it, like, oh, I don't, maybe it does make me, like, unlikely to become super fast. So he creates another Earth that's also hidden, and boom, he clones everyone, right? But this time he implemented it in a suit. So it's like it's like, I hate to make this comparison. Like, whenever you can copy items, he just did that to, like, everyone, he just did that Earth, everyone there, except in this Earth, he lives by himself. And who's that version of him? That previous version on Earth that he was supposed to take out, and then boom, he takes his place. Alright? And he realizes that, oh, my family won't live forever. So he manages to get a small container of the liquid inside that main core, that thing that caused this, right? Because he accidentally took it with him, and then he makes clones of it, and then he, like, when they're sleeping, he injects it into them, right? And then eventually, after a year, they have a complete dosage, right? So now he and his family are immortal, right? But he realizes that he's only immortal while he has the suit. So he makes the suit into himself, right? Basically, there's like this little circle here, right? Little circle, it's like blue in the middle and then black on the outer rim. And then basically, if he ever needs to go in his superhero form, all he does is say, "Go bananas!" I know it sounds weird, but yeah. And then, basically, it like kind of like nanotech. Yeah, exactly like nanotech. Like, and then he's in his suit, right? But this also means that his suit is in him, right? Right? He still has the suit on him or in him, which means that even without the suit now, he's immortal. So yeah, that's what he does. Boom. He continues saving people until he hears about a disturbance. Apparently, now a multiverse named after called Marvel. Marvel's death is different. He hears that apparently a supervillain managed to defeat death, and that he took the place of death. And he also realized, and he also heard that the new Death defeated, teamed up with Otto Octavius, like a guy who has robotic tentacles. And he's like, this sounds fun. So he decides to team up with them, right? Or at least, yeah, or at least what you think, right? He's acting like he's teaming up with them, but in reality, when he sees him, when he sees Spider-Man, he's like, no, he's just a child, I gotta help him. So that's what he does. Like, like if Otto Octavius orders him to go destroy a building, what he'll do is that if there's 10, foundation bars, let's say, he would destroy 5 of them, and even then it wouldn't be destroyed, it would be heavily damaged, and then he would leave the rest alone to make it easier for him. And he also, like multiple times leaves the plan out in the open, like the entire plan, the entire, like the suit specs for all the suits where they're gonna hit up next, and like stuff like that, intentionally helping him. And when he does fight him, he goes super light on the kid, right? Super light. So how does he meet with them? He just goes into the reality, and he manages to manipulate them into thinking. He manages to create a device that like flashes them, like, right? And they're covered in white, and their eyes are, and like all they see is white, right? And you might be saying, oh, what did it do? Basically, what that did was that it put a memory of them being teammates with him, and even when Otto Octavius was about to die, he still helped, right? Fake memories that none of them can tell the difference, because they're literally synced in with true memories. You can see him in flashbacks that are the true memories, him talking to him in the true memories too. So even if he did do a scan for fake memories, he would be like, no, most of them are related to real memories, so they're obviously real, right? So yeah, yeah. What's his name? His name I actually don't know. The Zorgo. Sure, the Zorgo. That's his name, the Zorgo. right? That's his name, the Zorgo. And that's his backstory. So thank you guys for watching. Bye bye.